Welcome to Jamaica Mon. What do you think? Huh? Does that look Jamaica? I don't know if it's Jamaica, but I always like to do something to kind of honor our guest. And our guest tonight, many of you already, in fact, I think all of you know her. Rachael Colby is standing by in the green room. She's getting her headgear in her ears, because sometimes the earwax kind of make them fall out like that. They do that kind of thing. Rachael Colby, I'm going to let her tell your story, but in the way of introduction, I kind of ran into her. I actually spoke to her on my way to the North Carolina Christian Writers Conference. She did not attend that conference, but she had a friend there who made herself known to me, and I heard her name mentioned because she actually won some awards there for some stuff that she submitted. So, anyway, Rachael comes to us all the way from the Northeast. Where are you at Not exactly, but what state?
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, but
Cape Cod to be specific.
Okay, but you're from Jamaica.
Yes, I am.
All right. Well, you hadn't blogged in a while, have you?
Just today.
Well, until today, I should say. What fired you up to crank the blog back up?
Well, the last one was up July 4th. I just needed to get it done, and you were that little bit of extra fire to get me going, I guess.
I didn't tell you to do it, but you had to have something.
It was way overdue, but life happens, and so very relieved to have one up, and there's another one in drafts just about ready to hit post on. So,
right. So you're gonna not do one for a few months, and you're gonna do two, one, boom, boom, like that. So how often do you intend to blog? Do you have an idea how often?
It would be nice to do once a week, but I think my more natural rhythm, except for the last month or so, is probably about every 10 days is probably about good for me. I have a lot started. I just need to finish them and figure out when to post what, and time to start thinking if I'm doing some interviews and where I'm going to put them in the schedule.
Well, tell me if I'm wrong, but I kind of get the sense that something's been tugging at your heart to start, making some smoke come off the paper, because you put together some entries for the contest, or two of the didn't you win like 2 titles, or how many awards did you get?
2. Yes. So, 3rd place for my article, I Hate Commitment, or Is It Failure I Fear? That was on writing, and 1st place for my poem, He Has Risen.
He Has Risen? So
yes.
You do poetry too?
Yes, I definitely do poetry. It sort of writes itself into everything I'm writing, no matter what it is.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. And poetry can be made into music,
Yes, so I've been told. So I've been told by others, a couple of my pieces, but I'm not a musician.
I don't have a clue how to do that, but what did the 2 articles that are the 2 pieces that you submitted? There's categories. What were they?
I Hate Commitment, or Is It Failure I Fear? It was a short nonfiction, and then He Has Risen was poetry. So,
how short is short?
I think the short nonfiction was maybe 1,200 words was allowed.
Oh, okay.
I'm not something like that. I'm not sure. Somewhere between 800 and 1,200, something like that. I'd have to look that up. But if you go on Serious Writer's website,
they put it up there.
Yep, the contest. The link to enter the contest for the Ohio Christian Writers Conference is up, and that'll give you the word counts. And so, for all those writers out there.
So it was on, is it Fear of Writing? Don't give us the whole 1,200 words, but tell us what it said, basically.
I Hate Failure I Fear. It was I accepted a challenge from writing coach Jeff Goins for writing 500 words a day. And I do fear commitment because I hate not coming through with it. So sometimes I try and avoid it. kind of like avoiding failure by not doing anything, but that's
Hmm.
failure too when you don't do anything. Um, so
So
I wrote about doing the writing challenge, and let's see, I should have pulled it up.
it's there.
So
Well, let me ask
it's
something. You
yes.
submitted these. Did you have any desire or intent to go to the conference that you submitted those to, or was that just kind of your backup plan?
Um, I would have gone. It's just don't have all the time in the world and all the money in the world, so I
Hmm.
can't go to every conference. I just went to Blue Ridge in May, which was my first writers conference, and I think it's important as a writer that you're always moving, doing something, and so writing contests is one way to keep moving, challenge yourself, and
Hmm.
hopefully build your platform and become a better writer. So
So your blog today kind of it rolls out, saying that you kind of wanted to go, but what?
Um, it was just to Blue Ridge. Yes, I had wanted to go. It was a matter of a lot of money. It was actually they're actually all very reasonably priced, but it still adds up to quite a chunk of change and just life. I mean, I'm a mom, and we had gotten recently gotten a surprise foster son, so two 17-year-old boys, and still school going on and to take off, and it just seemed like
What made you want to
the
go?
end.
What were some reasons to go?
Um, to be fed as a writer, to grow as a writer, to be taught, and really, I felt like I just felt drawn, and I really did go expecting to hear from God, just to get away and get into that forum of create, surrounded by the creatives that are called to write and that are ahead of me. So and so that is what happened.
Okay.
It,
I'm looking at a business card I picked up at the North Carolina Christian Writers.
yes,
Norma Poor.
yes.
You told me about her.
She's a sweetheart. She's an incredible woman. She's part of their 9 women. We all met in the Jerry Jenkins Writers Guild, which we became members of 3 years ago when it was founded. And within the guild, we're able to form our own groups. And so Norma's one of 9 of us that have been together this time on our writing journey, and we encourage each other and help each other out as much as
Now,
we can.
so Norma, I didn't get to speak much to Norma, but she did approach me and let me know that you and her, and you had let me know earlier to kind of keep my radar up for her. But in your blog, I get the impression there's another friend that just grabbed you by the hair, kicking and screaming, dragging you to that conference. Am I off? Am I off very much there?
Oh no, that would be Sherilyn. Sherilyn is an amazing encourager. She had prayed and felt that God, that I needed to go and that we were supposed to go together, and she was supposed to drive. She could have flown, and I'm glad she was persistent. She's a great friend. I don't know if I would have survived my first writing conference without her.
Is it
So
kind of like
it's
karaoke? If somebody else will do it, I'll do it after that. So,
I, I don't know about that. I kind of clung to Sherilyn the whole time. So I was it was pretty overwhelming in a good way.
so how well do you know Cheryl apart from your writing?
I met Sherilyn on Writers Chat, which is part of under the umbrella of Serious Writer, and that's Tuesday mornings at 11 o'clock Eastern. Um, you can look for the tweets for it. And so I met Sherilyn through the conversations on there. That they do like writing classes and things to help writers, and she realized that she was in Rhode Island and I was on Cape Cod, so we're only about an hour and a half from each other. So
Hmm.
last fall she came and visited me, and so we've been in touch. Spent a few days, and we spent quite a bit of time driving from Massachusetts down to North Carolina and back. the Writers Conference, and I'm hoping she's coming back to visit me soon.
Would it be fair to say that if it weren't for her, you wouldn't have gone?
Um, yes, I think that would be fair to say. Writers need writers, and sometimes you need a little bit of a push. Um, you need that encouragement from somebody that's ahead of you, and Sherilyn would be one of those people. So I'm grateful for her. I mean, I believe it was God, and God wanted me to go, but God uses people, right?
What if I told you that God is using you right now to encourage other writers?
Well, that would be
You'd start crying
that.
or something, right? You'd,
Well, at the at the Blue Ridge Writers Conference, Bob Hasletter asked if we had writing goals, like we had like a writing motto, and so mine was to glorify God, to encourage believers, and reach the lost. And some of those people I like to encourage are writers. I love encouraging writers because I know what it's like to doubt or to not even know you're a writer. And we really do need each other. It's very important. I think that writers have other writers in their life, and words are eternal, right? You need to write. So I
do you
think
know
it's
how many
important.
images I have of you around this room? And I'm trying to remember which one to look at. It's that one right there.
That's
Uh,
that's very intimidating because I'm not a,
um,
I'm a,
let me
I'm
read you a.
not a public speaker, and I'm
You are
camera
now.
shy. So
Okay. Well, let me help you. I'm quoting here.
yeah,
I'm really want to read those, referring to the submissions that you were awarded for.
okay.
I'm hesitant to enter the contests. I appreciate the fire you're setting here. We do have an impact. We think we're nobody. Um, and don't be surprised what your words have
As
done.
as far as entering the contest, the next blog post that goes up is about the Writers Conference, the Serious North Carolina Christian Writers Contest, where I won the awards. And well, I guess I'll do the teaser. I already shared it with you, but I told God when I entered, because I've entered a few things and submitted a few things over the last year or so, and I told God, I said, God, I can't enter any more writing contests if I don't win something from the North Carolina Christian Writers Conference. And I almost didn't enter. And one of the things I wrote is but I figured if I was going to enter, that entering my article on failing was appropriate since I seemed quite adept at that. And that is the article on failure, fear of failure, that won third place. And even my poem starts out with, trying everything in the world to find satisfaction and meaning and coming up empty until Jesus found me. So,
Do you struggle with fear? Do you ever struggle with fear?
oh no, not at all.
No, not at all. That's what your blog says.
Oh,
I,
if you go on my blog and you go under categories and you go under writing, I'm sure you'll find quite a few blog posts on there that talk about fear and doubt, and so
so I'm of the opinion, and you,
yes,
I think you concurred that if it
yes.
weren't for your friend Sherilyn, you probably wouldn't have gone.
No, I probably wouldn't have gone, and
You absolutely
like
wouldn't have gone.
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure you wouldn't have. And she's an
Well, for one
encourager.
thing, there's no way I would be driving to North Carolina.
So,
So there was no airfare money coming anytime
yeah.
soon. So yes, and I'd have to say too, like it was Jerry Jenkins that has been such an encouragement that sort of drew me out when I just somehow ended up following his blog. Just a series of, I call them Godcidences.
God's.
Yes, there's a post about that. It's not ready, but it's not finished yet. Me too.
Yeah, I have one. It's not written, but I say, is that coincidence or providence? Um, so here's
Yes.
the picture I get. On the one shoulder, you're hearing these words. Now these words are through people like Sherilyn. and the others that you've mentioned. But then there's in the other ear, you're saying, well, this costs money. Oh gosh, I'm a parent. I can't leave these two 17-year-olds with my husband. He would never say yes to this. You heard those words.
Yeah, and the Bible says you have not because you ask not. So
All
there
right.
you go, right?
So I guess my question is you got these words coming in this ear saying go. Who's really the author of those words? Do you think?
Well, I would say God's called you to do something, and you need the equipping to do it. That the go would be from God, and the doubt would be from Satan. And I do have a blog
Oh,
post called "Shut Up, Satan" too, that has
okay.
to do
Well,
with
that
overcoming writers'
I was kind of
doubt.
I was kind of teeing it up there to see if you would connect the dots, and you did. It's because I think we all have these struggles, these voices, and I think of them as, the devil sitting on one shoulder and an angel, or sitting on the other, and one's whispering this encouragement and giving you strength, and the other one's saying you can't do that. I don't hear personally. I don't hear you can't do that much, because most alpha men, if you tell them they can't do something, they will be certain to prove you wrong. But here's the voice I hear: you're not good enough. You cuss. Where were you the other night? What were you doing? Blah blah blah. You're not righteous enough. You're a hypocrite. You're not good enough. That's the struggle that I face. I mean, I was by the time I called back, the opportunity was gone. But I had a couple of people recommend me for an opportunity to do something for the kingdom, and the first thing I thought is what if what if they find out that I cuss, or I'm just not good enough. I'm just not good enough. I'm not righteous enough. I'm flawed. I'm a sinner. I am not just a sinner. I am chief among them. Okay, I am, and that's with me trying to clean it up. You should have seen me before God got a hold of me. Gee, what? You don't have to
Mark,
deal with that, do you?
Mark, yeah, Mark, you're not enough, and neither am I. But Jesus is. He is the difference maker. So, so it's I battle that too all the time. I'm not super mom. I'm not super wife. I'm not super Christian. I don't have any letters before my name other than Mrs. And I'm just the common man, that struggles every day. But
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Listen, we're almost done. I do want to talk about a little bit of substance of the things you are that are kind of in the works. Is it true that you were related to some people in the civil rights struggle from way back when? Is that literally part of your family or heritage?
that is my husband's family. So my mother-in-law and father-in-law, and my father-in-law's best friend and his wife were very active in the civil rights. Um, my father-in-law was roommates with Andrew Young, Martin Luther King's close associate.
Mm-hmm.
They went to seminary together, and my in-laws were in the March Against Fear in Mississippi, and they also um, pastored. They were ministers in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and had to do with the civil rights movement there, changing, helping to bring about some changes there that were much needed. So yes, I have lots of stories, and still have to go and get more details from the children too. My sister-in-law remembers stuff because she was the oldest, so I have talked to her a little bit. But I have a lot of story. My mother-in-law gave me a bag full of newspaper clippings from their days in Oak Ridge, and also the Mississippi March, and all sorts of other documents. Very cool. So I've sort of been piecing it together, getting like a timeline of what happened in between, like in the case of the March Against Fear, like what happened between when my father-in-law went down to check it out and when they went to the march, because there was lots of things. And so it's one of the reasons I was so late on my blog post. I got buried in research. It's very easy to do.
Are you comfortable talking about race relations?
Yes, I am actually. I know some people have a problem with that, but
I think we need to talk, but it's hard for me because it gets combative. And for example, when I was reading about and just listening to what you just said, I say, we've really come a long ways. But then if you talk to somebody that is on the other side, they say, "Oh, that's just you're trying to make it sound like it's okay. We haven't come far enough. Things are still just as bad as they were." They get combative. It's like, well, can't you see we're making progress? Can't you see we want to do this? Can't you see we're trying? But that's never
I
enough, is it? For
I
some
think,
people.
well, you don't want to you want to keep progress moving. You don't want to minimize someone's pain, but I think a lot of times people maximize the negative and don't give enough press to the good things that are happening. And
Is that what you
well,
want to do? Is well, a lot of it is just is
I
historical facts that need to be told.
right. Well, in my blog post that's up, one of the things I said when I spoke to Edwina Perkins, the managing editor of Harambe Press, I said, with the racial tensions we are facing in our country, I believe it's important that people see black and white people in unity, that there's a history of and currently are black and white people who work together and support each other, um, which is a reason to put together the book on the Oak Ridge, Tennessee adventures of my in-laws
And
as
those
civil
those
rights
had to do
act.
with opposing some Jim Crow legislation or
Yes,
things like that.
yes, yes. The setting of that was set in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, in 1660s. Two white ministers stand against Jim Crow segregation and host a multiracial summer camp for children is just one of the stories. I have about 8 or 12 of them, different incidences, and so I'm hoping it will, show that that people did and do work together from different races, and that's very important. I have a this year's Martin Luther King post, MLK Day post was why are we shouting? So there's more on that there. A poem in there too about race
From the
for
chat
unity
room,
and
a
learning
great
to appreciate each
example
other.
of iron
Pardon?
sharpening iron, as the Bible says, what Sherilyn did for you, Rachel. And the Bible talks about it as men with iron. But I don't think the intent there is gender specific. I think that women can encourage one another. I think they're just using men as the example. Um, how much of what drives you? Let's see. What could be driving you to write about some of the history of race relations? It could be one, your familiarity with it, so it's more comfortable. It's more your comfort zone. You have easier access than most through your family connections. That's one possibility. The other possibility is that you're passionate about it and you think it's important. And the third possibility is you want to make money selling the book. What?
Well, I have no control over that.
Well, of course you do. If you publish a book,
Well, I can only do what I'm responsible to do, which is gather the stories and pray and do the best I can to put them together and pray that God uses them for His glory um, and hopefully draws people not only to those stories but to the other stories and the other things I write, which the goal is to draw people to Christ and to encourage them, in their walk with God and on their writing journey or the whatever God has called them to. So
okay. Rachel,
yes.
we've been on the air 5 minutes longer than we are allowed to go, according to my producer. You did it, girl. You did it. Rachel, I'm proud of you. One of the things I'm so proud of you because some of the guests we have here are accomplished authors. And therefore they are also accomplished speakers. Now, what I'm trying to avoid here is seminary graduate talking head theologian types. Okay, in the broad sense, preachers. Now, I don't have anything against preachers. I think preachers need to they are doing their job. They need to do their job. We need to go to church for that. But I think that who they're preaching to needs to say something. If what you're, I'm starting to preach now. The purpose of what what drives me here is people like you, Rachel. People who have a book written in their heart, and they're just trying to get it out, trying to share their walk with Christ, trying to make this world a little bit better. Rachel, you are a champion of that cause, and I appreciate you sharing your time with us tonight.
Well, are you going to send them to my site, Mark?
I've put it up there numerous times. There's probably a story on that website. I'll do it one more time. One more. Hang on. I got to reset things. Here it is, folks. If you didn't get it earlier, and next time she's on, she'll have to tell us the inspiration. Tattoo it on your heart.com. That's where you'll find all of Rachel's work. And if you want to connect with her on Twitter, we have a way to do that too. And it's on your screen right there. How's that? You impressed? Which one am I talking to? There's 7 of you in here. Plus the 7 voices in my head. You know, I argue with myself.
How much coffee did you have today, Coach?
Rachel, if you can't thread the needle of a running sewing machine, you need more coffee. That's all I can tell you. Rachel, thank you so much for being a part and just sharing your story. You're a brave young woman, and you're a talented young woman, and I think God has got, well, wait a minute, it doesn't matter what I think. God says in Jeremiah 29:11 that he has great plans for you, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Rachel, we need a better future with people like you driving it. Appreciate you sharing with us tonight.
Thank you for having me and for all you do to help other writers.
All right. Have a good night.
Appreciate you.
Yes, ma'am. There you go, folks. I'm getting messages from all over the place. My phone is blowing up. It's not that I'm popular. They just want me to say something to you. It's that you're popular. Hey, great to see Canton Tweet here tonight. Doug Carter is with us. Sunbelt girl Tammy from Georgia. A couple of people hanging out in the balcony up there. Hey, how y'all doing? Glad you're here. You don't have to log in. You can hang out with us anytime. We'd love to have you log in if you feel so inclined. But what we're going to do now is we are going to continue PJNet Live. We got some great videos coming up, and I've got to produce the highlights from this show tonight. See you out there on Twitter. See you back here tomorrow night with Roger.